welcome to the Enterprise Scrum for Business Agility. So let me start by sharing why you should come to this meetup. Okay. So the purpose of this meetup is twofold. It's first for you to learn about Enterprise Scrum. Second is for you to share your experiences as you apply Enterprise Scrum at work. So what is Enterprise Scrum? Enterprise Scrum is a business agility framework that enables your organization to respond to all forms of changes quickly and effectively so that you can deliver maximum value to your organization and your customer. Right, Enterprise Scrum does that first by filling the gaps that you find in Scrum Guide. Let me ask you this. Does Scrum Guide tell you how you can apply Scrum to more than one team? It doesn't. So Enterprise Scrum help you with that and many more. So second, Enterprise Scrum is generalized. So it is not just used for software development, but it's also used for everything that you may need for your organization. So like the name Enterprise Scrum, it's an enterprise level framework that can use for across whole organization. So that's the second. And third, it's a transparency. Enterprise Scrum brings a transparency to the next level. We all love Scrum board, right? Because it gives you the transparency of what teams are working on, right? So in Enterprise Scrum, what we do is that we introduce what's called business model canvases so that you can look at all different factors that you need to keep aware of and know to have a successful business. And you can pick, we have many different variety number of business model canvases that you can pick and choose to fit your organization's need. And lastly, Enterprise Scrum is based on abstraction and generalization. So it can be easily pluggable and scalable. So many of you probably, I don't know, maybe some of you may not know, the Enterprise Scrum was pioneered and also developed by late Mike Beadle. And it is based on many years of experiences that he had it in the trenches. So Mike basically made Scrum better, and he made Scrum scalable, and he made Scrum as an enterprise level framework. So let me just give you a few history or background of this meetup. This meetup I founded this meetup with Mike Beadle about 2 years ago, and on April of 2017. So we founded this meetup with those purposes in mind. And so we typically meet every other month, mostly odd month of the year. And as of today, we have about over 550 members. Right, that's great, right? So let me, next I would like to invite one of the people from the Dotty's Business Solution to share what they do, and they are very kind and generous enough to provide us the venue and also today's food and drinks.
All right, thanks, Sue. Get in the frame here. So my name is Brian Carrazza. I'm a senior client manager at Doherty. So Doherty is a full-scale, full-service business consulting firm, privately held, 1,300 consultants, headquartered out of St. Louis. So here in our New York, New Jersey branch, we have a specific focus around business agility, agile, and business architects. And we're building out practices in data analytics, application development, and IT strategy.
Okay, thank you so much. So next, I would like to take this opportunity to thank event co-organizers, Wade, right here, and Yuan. And so I just want to quickly go over today's agenda. So Mary's gonna give us the presentation by 8 p.m. and then it's followed by question and answer. And then we'll have what's called live feedback, just to get your feedback so that we have a better idea of what we can present in the future. And then any announcement. So you can use this time to share any news or event that you may have with the rest of the members. And also, if you're looking for a new job or you're looking to hire somebody, please use this time to do that as well. Okay. So today's talk is creating a shared understanding of purpose. And I believe this is a very important step for any organization to start a successful, agile, and also enterprise Scrum journey. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Lem to introduce Mary.
Thank you. I'm going to read this, but thank you, Doherty, for sponsoring the pizza and the venue. Mary, and thank you, Mary, for sharing the information, which you will. So she's a 20-year veteran of technology and currently an agile coach with Doherty Business Solutions. She believes in supporting organizational transformation by supporting the success of others and challenging cultural beliefs. She's a veteran of U.S. Army and convinced that every transitioning service member should actively seek to find a corporate home in an agile environment. In other words, everybody keeps their jobs, right? In her spare time, she loves to play violin and other activities that are full of family and fun. Thank you and welcome.
My name is Lorenzo Altor, and I've been in and around software development for just around 10 years. The thing that struck me about Agile is when I got thrown into it off the deep end as a product owner, I was about ready to just quit my job. It's like, this is crazy, this makes no sense, I like my waterfall, I like structure, I want to know exactly what I'm doing. And little by little, the light bulb went on. And one of the things that hit home is that idea of purpose. It's if the team understands exactly what the goal is for that sprint, how much easier it is to communicate that. And then take a step back, not just the team, but what about several teams? Wait, what about an organization? What can that do? So that is, in essence, the point of our talk tonight. Right? So yeah. I'll hand it over to Mary.
And so yes, an understanding of purpose is important. And so tonight, we not only want to talk to you about how to create a shared understanding of purpose, but how to do it in a co-creative way. How to shift from kind of old school management of just being told the purpose or told the vision or told the direction that the organization is in, to something that we can connect to in a way that will energize and encourage like full team participation, full organization participation towards our goal. I'm going to play a little bit with words, so hopefully I offend none. Some people may call it vision, some people may call it purpose, some people may call it mission. I'm not going to get in the mix of which is the right word to call it, but just kind of understand that forward-looking place we want to be as an organization. And if I kind of substitute words in and amongst, would you guys be okay? Just kind of go with me, go with my abuse of the English language a little bit, and then I can kind of stay out of the wars that are on Google about that's your vision, no, that's your shared purpose, and all of the things. I'm going to stay out of that fray. All right, so hey, there's me, it's proof. And there's Lorenzo, proof again. We take really good pictures, right? All right, so here's my intention for this session. This is for you. This is really for you. We're looking for new ways to develop shared purpose to improve business results. At the end of the day, what we do is intended to drive positive business results. So this creating a shared purpose workshop, this is a particular co-creation pattern. This pattern is not limited. This is definitely something you can take and expand and play on in different ways depending on the number of people that you're actually working with in an organization, so large and small groups alike. And I can share a little bit about my experience and the size of the groups that I've worked with using this pattern. So unlike that traditional command and control, telling people this is your vision, this is an opportunity for us to empower every individual in the organization to move toward the creation of that vision. Okay, so if that's okay with you, if we're in the right place. All right. There it is. All right. So this is where we came from, right? Like this is where we came from, and in some cases, this is kind of where we're at, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory. Imagine yourself in a Fortune 500 company, Fortune 50 company, Fortune 100 company that has existed for at least 30, 50, 100 years, right? Born and bred in the industrial era, highly successful, and thoroughly well-intentioned. Thinking about financial services industries, healthcare industries, telecom industries, they're in people's most desperate times of need, right? So highly, highly successful in leveraging all sorts of management practices that through the industrial era. So you can't fault people for where they're at, right? These companies have been highly, highly successful, made lots of money, and really helped humanity continue to thrive, right? And the management style that kind of came out of and support of the industrial era is this idea of thinkers and doers. So a little story about thinkers and doers. One day, I was the PM note taker for a C-level conversation on a new business opportunity. So imagine yourself in a large boardroom with that big, beautiful, financial services companies love those big, beautiful wooden tables. I was sitting on one side of the table. Another individual named Ian, who is a company that we were looking to do a joint venture with, he was their PM, note taker person on my side of the table. And there were 4 or 5 C-level people, including the CEO of the partnering company and several C-suite folks from my company as well. CEO of our company walks in, sits down between Ian and myself, because that's where the empty chair was. One of the chief marketing officer kind of jokingly says, hey, you're sitting on the doer side of the table. and so this particular CEO went with it and said, sometimes I like to be a doer, right? So this idea of separating the thinkers from the doers. There are a group of people who sit at the top of the food chain. They think, and we prepare to receive. We do, right? So what are we looking to switch from, right? We're looking to switch to an environment where everyone is a thinker and a doer. So recent studies have come out, organizations, Harvard Business Review, Forbes, all of these magazines talk about the untapped potential of the employee. So companies are just chomping at the bit to somehow leverage all of these resources, right? These resources in their company, the brain trust that is the company, into creating something better. So in the Agile space, I don't like to refer to people as resources, but we know many times in these big companies it's a word that's just part of the vernacular. And so that's how people are referred to. So in switching to a mode of thinking about people as participants in the thinker and the doer space, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable for the executives who are used to being the thinkers, and it's not comfortable for the worker who's used to being the doer and just kind of being told what to do. So the idea of this pattern that I'm going to share is to create space, right? Controlled space, facilitated space, some constraints on a space that provides safety and opportunity for folks at any level to share in a conversation that they maybe never had before. So, but before we get into the pattern, I want to share a little bit about why does this even matter? Why do engaged employees even matter? Somehow, I don't know. There's a ghost over there. So disengaged employees, and this might be a little bit difficult to see over here, so I'm going to kind of not step in your way. I'm going to step a little bit to the side. So 87% of employees worldwide are not engaged at work. People come, they do their job, they just do their job and they go home at the end of the day. Not really engaged in what they do, looking to get that paycheck. And employees who are actively looking for a new job are watching, 51%. These are pretty telling statistics. And this 147% here is probably the most telling. Companies with highly engaged workforces are outperforming their peers by 147%. So it's in the best interest of the bottom line to find ways to better engage as an entire organization. So engagement's important. Now I'm going to talk a little bit, kind of tie engagement to this idea of creating a shared purpose. I'm really not in the right place. There it goes. All right. So 89% of executives stated that a strong sense of purpose drives employee satisfaction. There's a direct connection there between engagement and sense of purpose. This is okay, right? We can play a little bit with this. 73% of employees are engaged versus 24% in companies that have a strong sense of purpose. And so you kind of think about, like, how did they do that? How did they create that? And then the last one is a Dan Pink formula that you may have seen. There's a great video out on YouTube called Drive. Motivation is a combination, the sum of autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So autonomy, empowerment, my individual ability to contribute to the organization, to make decisions. Mastery, my ability to master a specific skill set or set of skill sets that I can contribute. And purpose is usually the one that's kind of left off. And at the expense of leaving purpose off, we as human beings, if I don't have a shared sense of purpose with my organization, guess what I do? I create my own. I'm human, right? At the end of the day, if I can't relate to the purpose that my organization has in mind, I will create my own. And we may have people who seem to be aligned, but really heading in a number of different directions. And it's kind of a silent disruptor in the organization. Oh my gosh. All right. You want to click? I'm totally technically challenged. All right. So what makes a good vision? So a couple years ago, it's a little bit old, but we'll see. I did a Google search, right, on what makes a good vision. And we all know that Google has the right answer. So Google has the right answer, right? If you're looking for the right answer, where do we all go? We go to Google, right? And then when in doubt, we go to Wikipedia, right? No. So there, on your table, there are pieces of paper with Google search results. So these are visions that came up when you searched for, like, what is a good vision out there. This is the report out from Google. What I'd like you to do is probably, this says to pair, and not everybody has a pair. So either pair or at your table, self-organize, however you'd like. Have a conversation for the next 3 minutes. Take a look at these visions. I'm going to bring up the next slide. It's going to have some company names on it. It's going to have more company names than are actually available for visions here. The idea is to have a conversation and try to guess, without using your cell phone and Google's help, to figure out whose vision is listed here. What questions do you have? All right. I'm going to start the timer then. 3 minutes. So some of you may have seen this before. It's an elevator pitch. If you just Google Agile elevator pitch, it's out there. It's everywhere. It's also in the Agile Samurai book. If any of you have seen that book. This is really the framework that I use to create a shared understanding of purpose. And the reason that I do that is it answers the questions who, what, and why. It has, that went really fast. It has abstract and concrete elements. So when you think about, some people in your organization are very detailed people. Tell them about the trees before you tell them there's a forest. Other people are like, show me that forest before you tell me anything about that oak tree, right? So you have to hit both, you have to provide space for both types of thinking to connect to your vision, right? So that idea of abstract and concrete elements being there. Hit it again.
So who do you invite when you formulate this?
Yeah. So I actually invite whoever is willing to come. Leadership, stakeholders, members of the team, and honestly, the more the merrier, because if someone is not in the session to create a shared understanding of purpose, but yet they're an influencer, they're likely to become a disruptor if this purpose statement is something that they can't connect to. So this idea of being in a session together, working on the shared sense of purpose together, there's an emotional element to it. So we know that our brain needs to be in that emotional state to be able to shift. So we want people to hopefully positively have an emotional experience. And we'll talk a little more about what that emotional experience might feel like. It's totally not super squishy in any way, shape, or form. It's just like a lightning bolt, a sense of joy, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of camaraderie that happens in a co-creative environment that just provides space for people to shift. So that emotional connection and that opportunity to create a shared understanding. So just to kind of talk a little bit about the elevator pitch. So for target customer, target audience, might be an internal customer, target stakeholders. There are specific words in green, but change those words to reflect, the idea is change those words to reflect words that work best for your organization. Who has a specific statement of need or opportunity? What's the need? What's the opportunity? Why are we, kind of the why are we here? The could be a product, could be a service, could be an idea, could be an opportunity. Is a, and just like, what is it? Kind of thing. So is a product category, think about it, is a what, right? That has a specific key benefit or compelling reason to buy, compelling reason to engage, compelling reason to use this service. Like and unlike, competitive alternative. So when I do these workshops with teams and organizations, I'll really challenge them to try to come up with a like. Because what will tend to happen is people will go to the unlike and they'll say, unlike what we did before. It doesn't add anything to the flavor, to the picture that I'm drawing in my mind, unlike what we did before. Unlike every other competitor we have today. Boring. No ad. So go for that like who's got something that may not even be in your industry, but it's something you like and you admire and you wanna kind of emulate that. And our product or our service or whatever has this primary differentiator. Why would somebody be interested in working on this using this product or service as opposed to something else? So so that is the elevator pitch. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about, if you could click again, talk a little bit about how you might facilitate a session. So first of all, you do not need to be an artist. I drew this on my laptop. I have one of those silly pens. I have no art ability at all. Like flip chart paper with markers and coloring them in. I drew my little roadmap, right? And then, so I actually typed in the stickies so that you could actually read them. But you don't have to do that, right? A sticky and your scratchy paper, you can just show people the process. So starting out with an intent, right? So just good facilitation technique. Why are we here? What brought us together? What's our purpose in coming together in co-creating our sense of purpose, right? The next one. North Star. This is where leaders in telling organizations thrive. Leaving space for them to, in their language, in their words, sometimes they have slides, sometimes they have posters, sometimes they just have words and they have this picture in their mind that they want to communicate to the organization. Whoever that leader or leaders are, we need to give them a chance and space to verbalize and provide for us a starting point, a North Star to go toward. Very few companies are actually looking to co-create a shared sense of purpose, like literally create it from scratch. They want to bring the organization together. They have nothing in mind, and let's bring all of our ideas and let them bubble up to the top. The North Star is that opportunity for that leader who, at the end of the day, has the decision-making authority, has the vision in their mind to communicate in ways that's comfortable for them. Yeah.
So you mean you'll let the CEO start the meeting?
Yeah.
But if you let the CEO talk first, everybody else would just follow.
Possibly, yes. So there's some work that needs to be done, right? So and we'll talk about this. So some work sometimes that needs to be done with leaders before they enter the space. You really do want them to just share what's in your mind, what's between your ears, what's your vision, in whatever your words are possible. Get us started in some way, right? And then the next thing we do is diverge.
Like magic.
So my little Hogwarts wand, right? We diverge on many visions. So I did this workshop with a group of 75 people, 8 teams, and their leadership in a room, and we had 8 flip chart boards. Basically, put the elevator pitch up on each of those boards, and said, "Go off in your teams, taking in what you've heard, what you know, you're experts in this space for this particular product, you're already working on it. Work on the elevator pitch. Don't worry if you get stuck on a particular line, skip it. Work on what is comfortable and known to you and start filling it out." So, giving them 10, 15 minutes to go ahead and have those conversations. So you got 7 flip chart boards going around the room. Sometimes the leader floats between the two. Sometimes you just sprinkle leadership in amongst the group, right? Just to, and again, that preparation for how do leaders participate in space and leave space for their employees. There's some prep work that happens there. And then 15 minutes is up. You just bring it back together. So we converge and we pull it all together. And it's really as simple as starting to read out line by line what people have put on the board. Start with line number 1. What have you got? What have you got? What have you got? You'll start to hear things like, ooh, ah, oh no. Right? And so like the reactions start happening in the room. And when you've got it, when you've got the right words, when you got the right words, all your slides slip through. When you've got the,
Oh my God.
when you've got the right words, lightning strikes. And literally, there is a bolt of electricity that floats through that room. When you have resonance among 75 people, everybody's like, yeah, and you just feel it in the space. And as a facilitator, when I feel that in the space, it's my job to just capture it and move on, right, to the next thing. So this is one thing I want to kind of be clear about. The intent here is to create a shared sense of purpose. It is not necessarily to create a marketing campaign vision statement. The idea is we all walk out of this room with the emotional and intellectual connectivity to what we're going to work on together. And then you close, just basic facilitation, how much you close. You might close with some type of affirmation that we've got the right words, that this is what we're going to move forward with. Some other things that may happen in the space. Another single team, less than 15 people on the team. We did this exercise. What they discovered is they actually had 2 opposing purposes. So they called one their real purpose, because when that happens, you have to say, well, what do we want to do with this, right? Leaders are in the room. Well, yes, you have both of these are your purpose. And so they called one of them their real purpose, and they called their other one their big, hairy, audacious goal, their BHAG. And off they went, right? Guess which one they focused on when they were actually doing their work for the next 6 months of working together? Their real purpose. Their BHAG was too big and hairy. Okay. They left it behind. And when we adjourned the team, in the adjournment, we did a facilitated session for them. They acknowledged, yeah, that BHAG, we didn't really, leadership wanted this, but this was not, we couldn't do both, and we had to pick. And delivering business value. So the BHAG was related to very agile, non-business related goals. So when you think about how employees are measured and evaluated, that BHAG was a hard place to go, right? So sometimes that happens. Sometimes what you realize is the organization is really all over the place, and maybe there's some more work to do. So when you facilitate this, it doesn't, or when you participate in this, it doesn't always end up in a beautiful place, but it definitely really reveals where the organization is at. And if there are competing priorities, you'll find it. Yeah.
So you have many divergent visions. How do you poll on which vision you want to adapt?
Yeah, so when I facilitate, so my role is to not judge any of them. My role is to just hear them. And the participants who are going to own, delivering, building, leading, whatever's kind of coming out of this, they will signal in some way that this is the right one. Oh, I love those words. There'll be like audible sounds. There'll be motion in the room. There'll be something that, and just as a facilitator, kind of call it out. Boy, it sounds like we've got that one there. And, heads nod. And you just take it and move. Yeah. Yeah. So my role in the space, I truly do facilitate from the space of not inputting my position, my thoughts into the outcome. I leave that for, if there starts to be a disparity that maybe leadership can help clarify, that's an opportunity, again, coaching leaders ahead of time so they know how to be in that space to provide some information, maybe not in a command and control tell, but in a, geez, we still need some directional help, kind of bring it together as well. Yeah. So I like that. Yeah.
So I don't quite understand North Star. I mean, what is that exactly? Can you expand more on that?
Yeah. So the North Star is that opportunity for whoever the leader is, leader or leaders in this space. Just so I'm thinking from the perspective of like a hierarchical command and control organization. There's going to be a VP, a director, a senior VP, a CEO, a CIO, whoever it is, who has this vision in their mind, and they really need to get people to rally around it. That North Star is that leader communicating in whatever way is comfortable to them, in the words that work for them, what their North Star is. And then the exercise is an opportunity for us to kind of coalesce around it.
So it's usually somebody from the executive level?
Could be. If you can get an executive to come, it's like uber powerful. Sometimes you're like, I just got a director to come and I'm going to go with it, and we'll play it back to an executive later. But if you can get an executive to come, it really, it makes a huge difference. I mean, it creates a space for people who do the day-to-day work to have conversations with executives that they maybe never had before. Be in that space of co-creating with the C-level executive who's down that hall with the super plush, comfy carpet, right? Nobody goes through those glass doors.
So how long is this workshop typically? I know there's many variables, but how long does it usually take?
Yeah, so really, so there's a broad range, and it's really about knowing your audience. The longest it's ever taken is a day. And that's an organization that was highly disparate on their objectives. Chief Marketing Officer came in at the end of the day. He looked at what they had done, and he said, I can't believe what was in my head is now on that wall. He didn't even participate, right? He just kicked it off and left because this was for the people. Shortest it's ever taken. So I was in a class last couple of days, and we were given 10 minutes. I just pulled the elevator pitch up, and I said, hey, let's try this out. We had to come up with a vision for our team. 10 minutes. We were done. Yeah. So, so I would say at least be prepared for at least, 90 minutes, because sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. And leverage the idea of gaining an understanding of the organization and how disparate things are in preparation for the workshop. Like, interview the participants ahead of time, so you kind of know where people are at, and you can anticipate some of the potential pitfalls that might come up. All right, so some anti-patterns. No vision. Let's get started. We don't need no stinking vision. We just need to start working, right? Many times that has happened. We'll figure this vision stuff out later. You're asking me to take an entire day out to coalesce around a shared understanding of purpose. We would lose a day of work. We need to get started. Not enough time. All right, I'm going to give you some time, but I'm going to give you 30 minutes. And you find out the kind of the chaos that exists in the organization, and you get into a place where no expert facilitator in the world could get a vision out of the time that they've actually given you, because there's that much stuff that the organization has to deal with. Grassroots miracles. I'll just kind of go grassroots miracles. So there's this idea, right? So we're asking leaders. I know it's kind of crazy, right? We're asking leaders to shift from a command and control organization, the command and control leadership style, to a leadership style that leaves space for people. So there's this potential to think, if I shift into a laissez-faire space, in other words, completely hands off, I'm just going to let you guys do what you want, magic will happen and you guys will just figure out the vision. You don't need to have any conversations with me. So my reaction, all good intention, my reaction, I'm a command and control. I tell people what to do every day. I want to create space. I don't really have a lot of skills there. I step right into laissez-faire, and I just expect grassroots miracles to happen. These are, we work with people who are used to being told what to do. So now they're like, okay, command and control, you've told me what to do, to, oh my God, what do I do? Right? I'm sitting around waiting for instruction. So this idea that grassroots miracle, it's all about grassroots miracles, it's a challenge. All right. Trading completeness for simplicity. So somebody mentioned, spreading the power of optimism. So, I've been in organizations where they're like, your vision can only be one sentence long. That's it. One sentence. And it's all this fluffy corporate speak word. We want to be adaptive and resilient. And you say, well, what does that mean to you? I was in an organization, with no names being said, where I asked for the vision. And I was told by leadership, well, we'll send you the slide. So they sent me the slide, and I looked at it. And the week before, I had gotten a copy of the DevOps Handbook in the mail. And it just so happened to be sitting on my desk. And, the DevOps Handbook has this nice little line about resilient, adaptive organizations or technology. And I looked at the vision, and I looked at the DevOps Handbook, and I was like, wow, somebody copied. Right? And then I looked, and looking at the vision, DevOps Handbook is kind of thick, and there's a lot of information in there. And I said, does that person mean what these people mean? I don't know, right? So this idea of that simplicity and those big corporate words, which I think is also on here, corporate speak. I think it probably, maybe not. Vision is once and done. So this idea that we've coalesced around a shared sense of purpose and we never need to come back and visit again, it's once and done. Energy ebbs and flows. Things change in organizations, things change in teams. So periodically coming back and revisiting this exercise is really, really helpful. People will start to diverge in their own space. Let's bring it back together. Consensus, not resonance. This is key. When you're trying to create a shared sense of purpose, the idea isn't at the end. So a lot of agile spaces, fist of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is everybody votes. And if we don't have everybody voting thumbs up or everybody giving us a 5, we can't move on. This is about resonance. This is about the lightning bolt. There will be people in various stages of comfort with any type of change and any type of movement that's coming down the road. So when you get that lightning bolt, take it and move. This is not about the democracy. Everybody gets a vote, and we're all in. What's next? Oh, corporate speak, adaptive, resilience. What are some other corporate speak words? Solutions. Yes. Yeah. What other corporate speak words have you heard that you're like, yeah? What does that mean? Synergy. Oh, synergy. That's one of my favorite. We want to create synergy. Whew. What else? High performing. Yes.
I hate that word.
Yeah. But somebody told me the other day they hated the word empowerment. Right?
Why?
Disruptive.
Why do they hate empowerment? Because of the corporate speak behind the empowerment. We want to empower our people. What does that mean? Disruptive. Yeah, we want to disrupt our market. Okay? I don't know if that means what you think it means. Any other corporate speak words that you've heard? Yeah. Okay. Vision is the end goal. Now we've got this vision. No other, this is it. Vision is the end goal. me as the executive, so kind of thinking about the idea of leading change and the idea of the leaders having the heavy weight to lift the responsibility of creating the vision and sharing it in an organization. So this is one of 8 steps that leaders take to lead change. So once they've created the vision, once they've created the shared sense of purpose, once they've participated in the session, they can just go away, right? Back to their CEO plush hallway. Yeah. And then this recipe as a best practice. So best practice is one of those words that I don't like. So I put it up here. This is an opportunity to play with this. This may or may not work in your organization. You may need to expand on it in some way. You may, there's some elements of this that make it most effective when you're having a synchronous conversation, virtual or in person, but everybody's participating at the same time. There might be other things that you want to do if you need to get create an environment where you can create a shared understanding with, say, folks that are working in India on a different time zone and folks that are working in the United States. So just the Manning patterns, and I'm sure that you might discover some more. All right. So knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. So I've given you a little bit of information. Click it again. If you can go out to menti.com and hopefully you can do this on your phones. There is a code 387841. I'm going to go click it over there. Get to it. So there's an opportunity to add a couple of words. So forget the video. I actually took the video out because of the whole sound thing. So I'm going to change that. Sorry. Ignore that request up there. So what I want to ask you is there something that you want to take out of this session, or something that maybe you connected with on this session, or some feedback that you want to provide about this session? If you can coalesce it into a single word, and you have the opportunity to enter 3 of them, we'll kind of see what we generate as a group. So when you enter something there, it should hopefully show up on our word cloud here.
That's cool.
So keep on adding. One of the things that I love about this is we had a very short 45-minute conversation, and look at the diversity of what people would say. Yeah. So thinking about that shared sense of purpose, like really, in 45 minutes of sitting here all together and hearing the same information and having the same conversation, it's pretty cool when you can bring a group of people together and see what the possibilities are, bringing them into your organization in a shared sense of purpose, and don't take it for granted, because here we are, and how many words came up on the screen, right? Like we're totally divergent. It's an awesome space to be. So thank you.
This is a fun time. It's 1 hour just went by, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully. This was really fun. I like this.
Definitely.
It was very fun. Thank you so much, Mary. So we're gonna do just quick survey. And first, I wanna find out what role you play at work. Okay, so how many of you play as a developers? One developer. Two
Great
developers.
lobby representing.
Awesome. Product owners. Okay. And Scrum coach and masters. Okay. And quality assurance engineers. Testers, QA. No QAs. Leadership. Okay. Sales and marketing. Awesome. Sales and marketing. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna do this first. Because this is more interesting. Right? So I'm sure most of you are in a journey of adopting Agile. Right? So I wanna ask what kind of challenges that you have. Right? Just kind of get an idea of what challenges that you face. The first question is, how many of you have some challenges of building self-organized teams?
I mean, yes to everything.
No worries. So self-organizing meaning that like they're autonomous, they're on their own, you know. And what about managing dependencies? Okay. And focusing on measuring output and teams velocity versus outcome. So meaning that they like focus on a high performance, right? Whipping, instead of looking at what value are we creating. Do you guys have a challenge with that? And measuring quality and outcome. How do you measure? Do you have a certain way of measuring what are the measurements that you use? It's pretty good. I hope it's not velocity. No challenge with that?
Oh,
no, challenge.
story points this week.
Yeah, because that's how we know whether they are progressed or not. Without knowing that, what are we, it's everything has to kind of coalesce together. It's not just the outcome, but if it's an outcome, what are you measuring against? Okay, building an agile culture. Okay, it's pretty much the same hands are going on. I noticed. Okay, and lack of vision and mission and value. Okay, so I guess that it's like most of you guys experiencing all these challenges, huh? Okay. This. So I would like to see what topics that you would like to hear it in the future. And I know that you don't know much about what is Enterprise Scrum, except what I just said in the beginning about how it helps you with the scaling and how it made it more general, and then it's pluggable and scalable and all that, right? So having heard just what I said, and then few of you attended, previous meetup, so you probably have some more idea of what Enterprise Scrum is about. So having said that, how many of you are interested in learning more about Enterprise Scrum basic? Good, awesome. And what about Enterprise Scrum scaling framework? Okay. And business model canvases? So business model canvases is basically, how many of you heard of business model canvas? So it's by, Steve Blank or something. Yeah, it's just basically, it's a canvas where it has different items that you need to keep an eye on if you want to have a successful product or services, right? So we have many different business model canvases that you could pick and choose to fit your needs. Because it's like giving you a transparency on different levels.
That's cool.
So that I just wanna share with you everybody that I'm gonna message this out to everybody as well. So that I made a YouTube video on scaling agile with Enterprise Scrum. So this is a kind of recap of what I have presented last year. So it's just basically go over what are some of the factors that you need to keep in mind when you think about scaling, right? Scaling basically, one thing that you need to do very well with scaling is that how do you manage a dependency? And how do you do that? So I kind of give you an insight into that. And so that's part one. Part two is really going into how enterprise solve that problem. And I haven't done that. That's my next to do. So, just listen to that, and hopefully you get something out of that. And so this is about our meetup. And then also we have a Facebook group where you can, ask a lot of questions about the problems that you have. And then also there's an Enterprise Scrum website. Okay, with that, thank you so much. Yeah, that's that. I'm forgetting member announcements, right? Okay, so that's next thing is that we're gonna open it up for to anybody. You can just line it up and come up here. And if you have any events or if you feel free, since this is a very small group, any news or any event that you'd like to share with the rest of the members, please use this time to do so. Any or if you're looking for a job, or you're looking to hire somebody, anything? Come on. Who wants to get started?
Okay,
Yes.
I'll break the ice.
Yes.
My name is Sean Ishagi. I am a systems project manager and data analyst. I'm working in the healthcare industry out in Brooklyn. I'm currently looking to change companies and shorten my commute because I have a very long commute and work in the city. And if anybody is looking for a job, I attend a lot of meetups and workshops around helping you fine-tune your resume, interviewing, and there's an event taking place not too far from here at the Science and Business Library that you can sign up and attend for free. It's called Resume Renovation, and basically talks about how to change the format to attract companies and recruiters to help you land your next job. Starts at 6 and ends at 7:30.
Yeah, if you could message to everybody
Sure.
on our
I can
meetup,
yep.
that would be great.
Thank you.
Because sometimes people are shy.
I'll say a word. So I'll put a plug in. So as you know, right, there are already a number of us here. We are a relatively small in the region consulting firm. Right? We're headquartered out of St. Louis. I'm sure Brian can very big comments is hard to hear in the corner, so I don't know actually what you said, Brian. But that fan is loud. But we are growing, and we're growing pretty quickly. We are in the process. Our lead recruiter here, Dean Hoffman, would love to hear from you or your friends if you are a Scrum Master, a product owner, an awesome developer, an architect, someone in data scientist, right, or data analytics space. Really, we're growing in all of those capabilities, and so we would love to hear from you if you are interested. If you want to just have an exploratory conversation, if you have a phone, if you have a person. Most of what we have going on right now is not in the city. It's actually, eventually, I'm sure we'll have some things going on, sort of in between, in Jersey City, Hoboken. So if you're interested, whether it's now, whether you want to be on the virtual bench for conversations later, please reach out to one of us before you leave or after the fact. We'd love to hear from you. All right?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, anybody else? All right, with that, thank you all for coming.